Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to the Behind the Frames podcast. I'm your host, Jerel and this is my partner, Armando Mendoza. Armando, say what's up.
What's up, guys? I'm here in my grandma's basement recording a podcast for you.
All right. Yes, we are. This is the Behind the Frames podcast where we're going to be talking about our journey as photographers, filmmakers, and taking you along behind the scenes of the process of making, making stuff and telling stories. And right now, since we are in quarantine, we are, I'm at my house and Armando's in his grandma's basement. So we are socially distanced. But yeah. So Armando, tell them about yourself.
Well, I am me, and that's about all you need to know. I'm just kidding. That wasn't funny. You didn't laugh. I'm sorry. But anyway, I am a photographer, or I want to be a photographer. I am here from Vallejo. If you didn't know that already, you probably don't know me, so that's why I'm introducing myself. I've been here my whole life, born and raised in Vallejo. I went to Vallejo High School. Yep. The school's named after my town. How cool is that? Haha. Your turn.
What's it called? I mean, most towns have high schools named after the town, but yeah, go for it, bro. My name is Jerel and I am also a photographer, but I am also a filmmaker. I was also born and raised here in Vallejo. Me and Armando actually met here when we were in elementary school. We went to Stephen Manor. If you're from Vallejo, I wonder if you know that school. But if you do not, don't worry about it, okay? As you can tell, this is our...
If you do know that, if you do know where Stephen Manor is, there's something very important that you need to know. The class of mine and CJ's, our class started the garden there, okay? So every time you pass by Stephen Manor and you see that garden on the side of the school, you think of us, because I planted those plants. I slaved to dig the dirt and pour the seeds. I did that. And they didn't pay me a cent.
We were kids. We didn't know back then, okay? But yeah, this is our first time doing a podcast. Obviously, you can tell in their voices that we are obviously newbies to this. But, the thing is that, I appreciate about, I guess, starting something new is that you can always get better at it. No matter how shitty you are, at making something, you can always perfect your craft. And no matter how bad you start off, you can always improve. And I think that with this podcast, it's also a journey into, seeing how we started off and where we're going to end off. Because, at the same time, it's like you can't be perfect at the beginning.
Unless you're Channing Tatum.
Oh, really? You think Channing Tatum's perfect from the beginning?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I bet he was a nice looking baby.
Okay. But yeah, what's it called? So this is our little passion project, because we are currently writing a film, and we hope to get it out by summer of next year when, hopefully, the world is back to normal again.
Hopefully.
But yeah.
You never know. Even if it's not back to normal, we still hope to have it out by then.
Yeah.
For you guys.
And, even then, like, our first film is not going to be perfect. And as we go on in this journey, we're going to talk about we're going to be talking more about, like, the process of writing, the process of finding actors, the process of, the pre-production phase, the production phase, and then the post-production phase. And it's going to be also exciting, not just for us, but I hope for you as well, and for those who are aspiring to go into this industry or are interested in making films. So, we hope to provide insight from our perspectives.
Yep. And, if you ever want to do any of this stuff we do, maybe it'll help you out. Maybe we'll give you the tools to succeed. Even if we don't succeed, maybe you will. You know what I mean? And then you can hype us up and be like, oh, I learned everything I know from these guys. Go watch them, and you'll make us famous.
Yeah.
Because we brought you up.
But, the interesting thing about what we're doing right now is that we're starting this podcast and our production company in the midst of a pandemic, which is which is COVID-19. For those in the future who are listening and wondering what pandemic it was COVID-19. But for those who are listening now, it's coronavirus, and the one thing that's taking our lives, it's making everything difficult for us.
Very difficult, as you can tell. I'm sure if you're here listening to us now, you know exactly what we're going through. Because, who isn't having a hard time right now?
Yeah, and it's very difficult. When COVID-19 first hit, none of us thought that this would last so long. Especially for me, I thought it was going to be a 2-week quarantine, but it ended up becoming a 3-month, even possibly a 6-month, quarantine phase. So it's weird. This whole virus took us by surprise.
No looking back.
But yeah, here's the thing. No matter what situation you are in right now, if you want to create something, the best time to do it is now, because work is suspended for most people. School is also online, so you have a lot of free time. So when we decided to make this podcast, we were just like, screw it, we'll just do it. No matter how shitty it is in the beginning, we'll still do it because we want to just get a jump start on it.
Yeah, me and CJ, we've kind of had this thing where we say we're going to do something and we never do it. And then we say we're going to do it again and then we still never do it. And now look at us in the midst of a global pandemic. We're doing it. It
took for the end of the world to get us to do something.
It really did.
Yeah, but actually, what's it called? We, going back to what Armando said, we actually did try to make our own production company back in 2 years ago or a year ago.
I think it was right at the end of high school, so 2 years ago.
Yeah, we called it Pineapple Prince Media.
It's funny. I just deleted the Instagram for it yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Man,
I couldn't bear to look at that failure anymore.
Oh man, we had so many ideas for that production company, but at the same time, I just felt like, I think it was with the name that kind of it just didn't stick. Pineapple Prince. We tried making a logo for it. We tried doing.
I remember we did a photo shoot inside of Target with a pineapple.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I still have the photos.
I don't even know. Oh, you have the photos. Yeah. I was just about to say, I don't know where the photos are now.
I never touched the photos because editing that was a nightmare.
I can imagine. They weren't very good photos.
Yeah, we were still
amateurs. I was just getting into photography.
Yeah.
I was months in.
Yeah.
Now I'm better, hopefully. I don't know. I can't really judge myself on my own photography.
But the process of us doing Pineapple Prince back then was actually just I think it helped us get our feet wet, but we weren't really committed yet because obviously at that time, I was starting college and I forgot. Were you still doing photography courses?
I was at Solano Community College. I was taking some classes.
Yeah. I just remember it was just a hard time because, we had classes and then we had also other obligations.
Yeah. And I was a full-time security guard as well. So
yeah,
it was tough, especially the hours I was doing. I was working what was it? 8 p.m. to 9 a.m. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah, so our schedules weren't aligned as we expected it to be because, the days I was free, Armando was sleeping, because, he would work night shifts. And when I would be awake, I would basically be drowning myself in schoolwork.
Yeah.
But
just didn't work out.
Yeah, and then I mean, we still tried doing a couple things, but we only did small things in between. You know, little photo shoots, little um, ideas about certain projects that never really went through. But now I
Yeah.
feel like it's going to be different.
Me too. I have a good feeling about this.
The reason
it reminds me of the short that we did, or we tried to do, Move.
Oh God.
We had a whole script written out. We hired all these actors, and one by one, all the actors quit before we could even get to filming. And I was just like baffled that it wasn't us this time that was, procrastinating, not doing it. It was the other people that we got involved in it. They just completely fell off the face of the earth to us.
It was interesting when we actually tried doing our first short film together. To give you guys a little background, our first short film was going to be a story about a ride-sharing app, and the whole message was like, be careful who your ride-sharer is, because it was supposed to be a thriller / horror. A girl gets kidnapped by the wrong, like someone else other than like the Uber or whatever. And, it was a very ambitious script, but, we went along with it because, we were like, let's just do something, right? And
I think we even had a photo cover for it. I think we even drew up a cover.
Oh yeah, I was actually creating mock-up app design. So during the process of pre-production, I also made a mock loading screen for a fake app called Move, and it was actually a very pretty tedious. It was very tedious because I had to learn After Effects and Premiere Pro at the same time. And like when I found out that this short film wasn't gonna happen, I was kind of bummed out.
Yeah, me too. I was really looking forward to it because we both spent so much time writing that script, and then for everyone just to bail on us, it was kind of like a slap in the face,
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like another thing too is like I looking back at it now, it's like, I'm kind of glad it didn't go through because I feel like we were still underprepared. We weren't fully committed.
Definitely underprepared. Look at the cameras we had.
Yeah.
Like it would have been, 420p?
Oh, yeah. What's it called? I just think that if we went through with it and all that, I just don't think the outcome would have been as we expected, because we were expecting like drone shots, 4K quality, but then, I kept stressing over like the logistics of filming, and I was looking at budgets, like, locations, actors, and schedules, and I was stressing out because I was like, there's no way we can do this within a 2-week period.
Yeah, and that's the other crazy thing. We wanted to do it within 2 weeks. We wanted to make a whole short film in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Script and all.
But, looking back at it, it was a good, effort, but I just don't think, again, we were in different times of our lives. We weren't as committed to, putting all our effort into this because, one, we were both making, minimum wage part-time jobs. So we didn't have enough. We didn't have a lot of money. We still don't have a lot of money, but we're still trying to make do. However,
yeah.
The thing is, it's like at the same time, I wasn't driving. That's a different. Or now I can drive, but back then I didn't drive, so I couldn't go. I couldn't meet up with Armando anywhere, anytime, because I had to get a ride from someone. And now I can go anywhere I want and look at locations and do all that. So that's a major difference between now and back then.
Yeah. No, I feel like for me, it was just really my job in school, what really held me down.
Yeah.
Because I was driving at the time, but my car was super unreliable. I owned a truck at the time, and literally when I say every month, I mean every month my car was in the shop for weeks at a time. I think the total time I had my truck, I only had it one week out of every month that I had it, and I had it for like a whole year. So there's 12 months in a year. I probably had it for 12 weeks.
Dang. But yeah, so we were obviously, in very different like situations, but now, I think we can handle ourselves a little bit differently. I mean, I'm still doing school. I still have a part-time job, right? Well, not right now because I'm not an essential worker, but I think it's gonna be different because I know how to manage my time, with the things I need to do and with this project.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really doing anything right now. For me, I'm doing Postmates, but I'm too scared to go out because I don't want to get anyone sick. I'm not sick myself, but I don't want to get anything from anybody because you're going around the whole town. You don't know where anyone's been. You don't know the people you're delivering to or the people you're getting the food from. So yeah. It's a really scary situation.
Yeah, what's it called? And I think that's the hard part about having to start a project in this pandemic, because obviously I can't go to Armando in person, or Armando can't come to me in person, and we can't like spend hours brainstorming ideas, and we all have to do it remotely, which I prefer to have in-person contact, but at this time, it's best that we're all safe.
Yeah, but I prefer person-to-person contact as well. There's nothing better than being right there with someone, because over the phone is just not the same.
Yeah. It's also very difficult because sometimes you want to show your partner or a team what you're working on, but you have to like do it within the frame of your laptop screen or phone, and that can be sometimes difficult.
Yeah.
And like just before recording this episode, we had a very difficult time trying to figure out how to record this podcast, and we were getting frustrated and everything because it's like how the hell do I get to record my voice and Armando's voice and keep up the quality and all that. But we figured it out. We're going through Discord, so yeah, thanks to Discord for that.
Yep, shout out to Discord. There it is.
All right.
That's the buzz I was talking about.
The buzz.
All right, so CJ, you're actually writing a script right now. You want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, so the script, I've actually have a rough draft version of it that I wrote last year. I called it Solum. The solum is Latin word for lonely, and basically this is the story of temptation, one of the 7 deadly sins. And the reason why I chose to write a story about temptation is because looking at today's society, especially today's younger society, like our age, our group, we live in hookup culture. Not to say that, not to say that true love doesn't exist, but you look at Tinder, you look at Bumble, you look at all these dating apps, and all the only purpose they serve is to get to know someone for a little bit, and then it's either hook up or go on a date, and most of the time it's usually to hook up. And
yeah, I have one of my good friends. I'm not gonna say his name on here, but it's like every week I see him, he's with a new girl, and I'm like, what's the purpose of this? I've been in a relationship for 4 years now, and I don't understand how people can jump from relationship to relationship to relationship and just act like the other person doesn't exist. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
And here's another thing too. I'm not trying to say hooking up with someone is bad. I'm just I think one thing I kind of want to amplify is kind of just the thing that kind of hurts not your soul, but kind of just there's a difference between love and lust, and I want to emphasize the fact that love is so much different than lust, because when you love someone, you love who they are, no matter, regardless of looks and all that. But when you lust after someone, you only want them for their flesh, you only want them for their body, and like you don't really care what really happened to them. You just want to get in their pants and just move on.
That's what lust means.
Yes, it
Read
does.
about it.
But the thing is, I am a Catholic. I grew up Catholic, and I remember there was a speaker who was talking about lust and love, and it really spoke out to me, because the cool thing about not the cool thing, but it's just like the interesting about the difference between love and lust is that like it makes you it makes you a different person. The difference, love makes you a different person, and lusting makes you a different person. And with this script, I mean, the story I want to achieve is like is to highlight kind of like the negative effects of lust. So right now with the script, I believe it's only like 8 minutes long, but I do want to extend it and make it somewhere near at least 30 to 45 minutes. But yeah.
So this is a film that you want to start and hopefully have released by the end of next summer.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you still keeping the name Solem, or is that in the workings?
It's still in the working. It's kind of just like, it could be the main title, but it's also just the working title as well. Because right now I'm also reworking a couple elements, and it's because I had to expand the story now. I had to like basically pick it apart and kind of add more depth to it, rather than keeping it a simple story, because I do want to add more depth to it, because it is more than a simple story. It's actually a very interesting story.
Me and CJ grew up going to Catholic school, so
yes,
there's that's one thing you should know about us.
Yeah, so I like to keep the cool thing about growing up Catholic was that the morals that were taught to us when we were kids, and it kind of made me the person who I am today.
Yeah, me as well. I have religious stuff all over me. Every day I wear my rosary beads. I have the Virgin Mary tattooed on me. I have a cross tattooed on me. It's Sunday school really had a big impact on my life.
Yeah. And like, there are certain stories I do want to carry out, in my films that, that also derive from, the teachings, but I also want to modernize it a bit so that, it also relates to everybody.
That's a tough one.
How's that tough?
I don't know, just modernizing, biblical things.
What's it called? It's not just, the thing is, I'm not interpreting like, I'm going to take stuff from the Bible and apply it to, the real world, right? What I'm trying to say is that, like, even if you're not Christian, even if you're not whatever, if you don't believe in God, if you're a Jew, or whatever your denomination is, it's like I could still take those lessons and kind of centralize it for everyone. That's what my goal is,
And just letting you know, we're not trying to push anything on anyone here.
Exactly.
That's not what we're about. Just if you're wondering.
And that's the thing too. Is like when as a creator, it's like I also realize that not everyone believes the same thing, right? But the best thing you can do is kind of just like help everyone understand in their own way,
Yeah.
And like that's that's the one thing that I always that's always one thing that I always wanted to do, was also create stories that resonate with everyone, not just a particular group.
And that's not an easy thing to do either. You really have to have some talent to do that.
Yeah, and I hope I can achieve that, but at the same time, it's like I'll try my best.
Yeah, and that's all you can do. Just try your hardest.
Yeah,
and you'll never know until you do it.
and like the other thing too is like the reason why I also kind of had that mentality is because I'm not a big fan of most Christian movies out here.
What, you don't like The Passion of Christ?
No, not The Passion of Christ. More so like God's Not Dead. All of the kind of like the cheesy Christian movies.
They're pretty much all the same.
Yeah, and it's I look at them and I know what their message is, and they stand out to Christians, but at the same time, like sometimes it can be a little bit problematic for people who are not Christian. So I look at that and I'm just like, how can we make that genre better, but not to the point where it deviates from the central message,
Yeah.
So
and we're not just to let you know, we don't want to be only Christian writers. We want to branch out into other things.
Exactly. No, but yeah, like the thing is, it's like we just don't want to do like stories like that. We also like I want to delve into horror, which is very different from like Christian stories, but I also want to go horror, do action. I want to do all that type of shit.
My main thing that I want to do is I want to do horror. Yeah. My dream is to make a movie or a short that has absolutely no dialogue, but the whole entire time you have chills because it's just that suspenseful. There's always something about just body language and camera angles and just the way certain things are filmed that really speak to you, and I want to dedicate something to that.
Yeah, no, dude, like just like you, dude, I'm a big horror fan. Like
me too.
And
it sucks because my girlfriend hates horror movies. Like I don't even celebrate Halloween anymore because she doesn't like it, and I'm not complaining, because I don't want to put her through something that she doesn't like, but sometimes I wish I could watch horror movies with her because it's just such a good experience, Like the other day, I don't know, have you seen the movie Platform?
Oh, dude, I love that movie.
Yeah, I finally got her to watch that with me because I told her it wasn't a scary movie. I told her it was a thriller. So she I don't know the word. She let me watch it with her, and she loved it, and I loved it. But the ending, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but the ending was kind of a disappointing ending for me.
Yeah, like, another thing to mention with the film we're creating right now, I actually do want to add some, horror elements to it. That sounds weird after I just said, like, it's based off a Christian moral, like, values, right?
The Bible can be scary sometimes, bro.
True. Yeah, that is true. I mean, have you read like freaking Leviticus or, one of those like the world will end type of stories?
Yeah.
But, at the same time, there's a lot of things that, that's a beauty of filmmaking is like you could add so many elements to it and like, make it your own. And that's what I want to do is I just want to make it, a unique story rather than just the, basic, central, I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, I don't want to make it a basic story. I want it to be unique. I want it to be different than others.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
But yeah. Yeah, so the interesting thing about us doing this now is that we are doing this in Vallejo. We we were born and raised here in Vallejo, but the interesting part is that, this town is such a small town, and what are your thoughts on that, Armando?
Vallejo is a very small town, but there's so many things and people here. If you look at other places around us, I feel like Vallejo is one of the most diverse places you can find.
Like we're doing this project in Vallejo, and the interesting thing about Vallejo is that what was once seen as like the town of the Zodiac Killer or the town of E40 and Mac Dre is now a town with talent growing, growing into mainstream media. I mean, you have her, who is a record-breaking artist based from Vallejo, and then you have C.J. Anderson, who won the Super Bowl 2 times, I believe, and then you have um, CC Sabathia, who was an OG baseball player from the back in the day. You got Mark Munoz, who was a UFC fighter back in the day. There's so many people from that started from Vallejo and ended up making success outside of Vallejo, and you know to that, we want to also make our attempt to be successful outside of Vallejo too.
Yeah, and I do love being from Vallejo, but that's not only what I want to be seen for. Like when I state who I am, I do want to have recognition from being here, but that's not all. That's not all I want to be associated with. I want to be known for what I do and what I've made, even though I haven't really done anything yet. But hopefully in the future, there'll be much more out of me.
This is only the beginning, brother.
Yes, only the beginning.
But yeah, go ahead.
I, in my opinion, I feel like the Vallejo is becoming the new LA in a way. It's because there's so many films filmed here, like 13 Reasons Why. That's not a film, but that's a show on Netflix. Pretty big show. If you haven't heard of it, you should go watch it, unless you get triggered easily. But yeah, 13 Reasons Why. The movie Bumblebee was filmed here in Vallejo on Mare Island, actually. And what's crazy about Mare Island? It used to be a military base.
Yes,
and
sir.
Just right across the water from us, a whole military operation was going down there. It wasn't even open to the public, and now look at it. There's regular people like you and me living there. Mare Island's actually one of the places I go most to take pictures.
Yeah, it's called. Going back to Bumblebee, didn't you have the story about that movie?
Yeah, I do have a story about that movie. The Universal hired. It's crazy. This part of the story. Buckle up, folks. So Universal hired one of my high school teachers to paint over a mural of not only of my cousin, but my cousin was painted in the mural. It was a mural of people who had passed away that were here from Vallejo, and my cousin was among them. He passed away back in 2011, right next to my birthday. He passed away on November 11th, 2011, and I'll never forget that day because it was one of the worst days of my life. Oh. But anyway, yeah, they painted over the mural for the movie, and they didn't even use the wall that they were supposed to, and it sucked. But what's done is done, and there's nothing you can change about it.
What did they say to the family, or your family at least? So
when it all happened, my family was very upset about it. And I'm not super close to his mom or his mom's side of the family. His dad's side of the family is who I'm related to by blood. And from what they told me, they were trying to give them tickets to go to Universal Studios in LA because they painted over the mural. And I don't know how right that is, but this is just how big corporations are. They're just gonna try to cover up their mistakes. They're not gonna accept what they're not gonna own up to it. They're gonna try to find any way they can possible to cover up and make themselves look like the good guys.
Yeah, that sucks, man. I feel bad for your family, and if they weren't gonna end up using the shot of the wall, then they should have never even bothered touching it. But at the same time, it's like they probably had executives, being like, we gotta take advantage of this, or else someone else will, and it's kind of shitty. But man,
and I don't understand, because it's just a mural. Like what's wrong with having a mural in a movie? It's not promoting anything bad. So why do you have to tear it down?
Yeah, I think it didn't fit their image. I think because when you look at Bumblebee, obviously it was set in the '90s, and I don't know what the mural looked like, but obviously they probably was like, oh, we can't have that. But at the same time, it's like they didn't put the shot in the movie, so it's like there was no point.
Yeah, it's sad, because it's one of the only things left on this earth that is a reminder of him. Like. He was so young when he died. He was only a couple years older than me. I was born in 2000, so he was probably like 12 or 13. And there's not much left of him except for his memory. And tearing down that mural is just one less thing left to remember him by.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, brother. But like, obviously, you keep your family's, or you keep your cousin's memory alive by just by telling this story and putting it out there. It's like you keep his memory alive.
Yeah.
I mean,
But yeah, I feel for the other people and the other families whose faces were lost when that mural got painted on.
Yeah.
It's not just my family that was affected. It was plenty of families.
Yeah. I hope someone kept a picture of that mural, and like, I hope someone, someday, revamps that wall or mural, and, makes it, so that, they memorialize, those who have like, fallen,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, that's really sad, and like, I feel for you, dude.
Going back to the topic of production, what do you feel about making our own production company? How do you feel that's going to turn out?
I'm excited, but at the same time, I am scared because it's like, it can go either way. It can, be successful. We can, we can make good content, but at the same time, it could also fail. And, I'm not really worried about it failing, because, obviously I still want to do it, even if we don't get, the high amount of views or whatever. But, it's scary, to be honest, because, there's a lot of things that come into place when you think about, first of all, you got to think about, the licensing of certain things. And then you have to think about, since it's just us two right now, we're gonna be dividing the work, like, and it's gonna be a shit ton of work, dude. So
yeah.
But the thing is, I love it. I love the shit ton of work. It's like I love the stress that's gonna come with it, and that sounds weird to say, but every time I get like a big project, like I don't stop working on that project until it's done.
Yeah, you have to have passion for it. It's not something that anyone can do.
Yeah,
it's something that you really have to work for.
And that's a great note, dude. Yeah, it's like, if you don't have passion for what you're doing, like whatever it is, it's like you are probably not going to get to where you want. But if you have passion for like something you love, like whether it's music, photography, filmmaking, or drawing, or video games, and you want to excel at it, you're going to put all your effort into just, perfecting that craft, And, I think that's a thing me and Armando share, is that, we're both passionate about, doing this together. We're passionate about making something and telling stories and, changing the world somehow.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we didn't start together. We started not even around the same time. You started back in high school, and I didn't start until after high school. And what's crazy about it is I didn't even know that you were into photography until I got into photography too.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's actually pretty funny because all throughout high school, I was in yearbook, and I was taking pictures of everything and anything, and At the time, me and Armando were not in the same high school at like from sophomore to senior year, right? So
Yeah,
we obviously
I left sophomore year.
So we didn't see each other for 4 years, we didn't see each other for 4 years because, obviously he went to a different school, and while we were away, like I was like doing photography, and I was getting my hand into video production at my school, and then I remember after I graduated, I see Armando with like these bomb ass photos on his Instagram, and I'm just like, yo, you want to link up? And then from there, it's like, we start it, even though we haven't talked for years, we were able to create we were also able to like, come together and like talk about ideas that, that essentially is this production company.
Yeah, it all has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And for me back in high school, what my main focus was acting. I was a huge drama nerd in high school. I had absolutely no passion for photography. It wasn't even in my eyesight, And one day I was out taking pictures with my girlfriend because we wanted a couple pictures, and while I was taking pictures, I was like, wow, this is so fun. Like, why haven't I been doing this sooner? I've been missing out on so much. And then ever since then, that's all I've been doing, just taking pictures.
Armando is actually a very much better photographer than I am. So
that's debatable.
You should follow him on Instagram. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap up here. I think it's a good place to wrap up. But yeah, thank you for listening for those who decided to stay along. Hopefully we can get another episode to you by next week. But yeah, thank you for listening. And we'll see you soon. All right. See you.
And if you do want to follow us on Instagram, my name on Instagram is ARM_AND_O.
And you'll know my Instagram because I'll be posting it. I'll be posting the advertisements on my Instagram, so you'll know. But yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week. See ya.
Bye.